Hi everyone, my name's Emma and I am soon to be a first-year med student studying in Australia. And in this video, I want to talk to you about how I am preparing, 1, for my first year of med school, and 2, to move across the world from Canada to Australia. So, let's get started. So I'm going to be breaking this video down into 2 parts. One being how I'm preparing for med school and something that may be applicable to any student who is starting their med school journey soon. And the second part being more specific to anybody that is moving across the world. So that'll be more about how I am preparing to move to Australia. So I will put some timestamps below so you can jump to the different parts that you want to, or you can just stay tuned for the whole video. So I want to start with how I am preparing for med school, and that is kind of with 2 major things, routine and review. So as some of you may know, it has, or at the time that I'm filming this, it is the beginning of January. I have just come through the holidays. I finished my studies at the end of the summer, so around September, and I graduated in October. So I've had a good, decent while of, sure, I've been working and I've been doing things, but I haven't been using my brain. So that's where the review piece comes into it. I am looking back through my notes, I'm watching some videos online, and just some very low-key, not very strenuous review, but to slowly start getting my mind back into the idea that learning is a thing, and we need to take everything that's been in storage in my brain and pull it back up to the front of my mind. I'm kind of using the MCAT as an outline for that. So all of the things that I reviewed for the MCAT, I'm doing a very high-level review before I leave, assuming that since the MCAT's the entrance test, it's what they want you to know, theoretically. And for those of you that don't know, I graduated from my Bachelor of Science 2 years ago, finished a Master's of Public Health, and took my MCAT 3 years ago now. So it's been a while since I have done some of this basic sciences, and I'm not confident I remember it all. So I have grabbed all of my old MCAT study materials and obviously plan on selling them before I leave, but for now I am using the Barron's MCAT flashcards. See, I don't even remember what study tools are. And just kind of going through them a little bit each day and just trying to remember them. I don't know how well the Barron's work for actual MCAT studying. I didn't use them a lot then because they don't really have a question and answer format. So they start biology number 1, the front of it is just DNA structure and function, DNA replication, and then the back of it is just high-level points about that. So it talks about semi-conservative replication, 2 strands unzip and 1 each. I remember that. The replication enzymes that are used, DNA polymerase, the leading versus lagging strand, but it doesn't give you any hint on this side to trigger your memory. So it's not really, it's a great one to give to someone else and say, hey, ask me the bold letters on the back, or the bold words on the back, but it doesn't do really well triggering your memory if you're actually studying. But for review, I don't think they're bad. I mean, I used them. I did okay. So I'm going through this, I'm rereading them and kind of oh yeah, I remember what that is, trying to rewrite it in my own words just to see what's back here in the cobwebs. So that's one thing that I'm using. The second thing, and this is a little bit out of interest and a little bit out of intimidation, is that I am trying to review anatomy really strongly. And how I'm doing that is with 2 books. One I received for Christmas, which is the Human Body Coloring Book, DK. I don't know, this one. And it's beautiful on the inside. It has some really detailed but still simplified drawings that you can color in. It's actually not really a good one to show you because it's just the skull. But even here we have the eye. So it's really great. It has some information, as well as it has all the labels, but you can also go through and try to label it yourself first. So I'm starting to work on coloring through some of these. Here's some of the muscles of the chest. So you can see it's fairly detailed, but still simplified. So it's not as complex as looking at a real body, of course. But then in conjunction with this, I have broken out my old anatomy textbook, or a piece of it, which is the Atlas of Human Anatomy by Nielsen and Miller. Now, this was assigned for my second year anatomy class, and I just refused to get rid of it because it is beautifully done. Pictures and dissections. I guess TMI for anybody who doesn't want to see this. Is going to be kind of gross for most of you. But if you're a med school student or enthusiast, you'll love it. But some really beautiful, I mean, you can even see on the cover, pictures of the different layers from superficial to deep. And I'm using this in conjunction with the coloring book, A, to discern the details in the coloring book, and B, just, you know, multiple sources. This is a little fun for me, and coloring is relaxing, theoretically. So that is the second thing I'm doing to really review. That's really what I'm focusing on, because anatomy is probably the subject that intimidates me the most, at least for the sort of general sciences in the first year of med school. But I don't want to forget, or I want to be trying to retrieve some of that information beforehand, so I think the MCAT review will sort of help too. So I'm not putting too much pressure on myself, because I do recognize that I will be taught in school, and I don't want to burn out before I even start. But I am someone who feels very, very anxious when they feel ill-prepared, and it's very easy for me to feel ill-prepared. So trying to combat some of those feelings by just starting to review a little bit, you know, work those knowledge muscles a little bit more every day, and slowly kind of work it up to the point where once I'm in Australia, I have a good, solid mental capacity to learn a little every day. And the second part of that is creating some good, solid routines. Now, I suggest this for any student who is coming back to school. So whether this is you watch it in August and you start school in September if you're in high school or university, or it's sort of the end of your Christmas break and you're starting back school soon, start building those routines now. So I'm trying to wake up at a better time, and that means going to bed at a better time, creating more positive routines, not being on my phone in bed, eating healthy, and creating a solid workout routine. It goes along with the new year very well, but it also means that I can start to build these habits and start to build these solid routines to rely on when my whole life kind of flips upside down. And I'm hoping that will help. I'm hoping I can start creating some really solid routines that allow me to wake up really easily and go to sleep very easily, because that will help not only with just school stress, but also jet lag. And all of this is just theory. I'll have to touch back to see if it actually works, but you know, it doesn't hurt to have a good, healthy routine, no matter what chapter of your life you're about to start or you're currently in. So what I'm focusing on to get ready for med school is reviewing my old materials and setting some solid routines with balance, so I don't burn myself out. So how am I preparing to move to the other side of the world? Well, a lot of organizing. You can't see it right now, but there is a ton of mess around me and around my feet, but it's a very organized mess. I am going through my entire room and categorizing things as take with, including a maybe pile, so that's like if space allows, take with, keep here, donate/throw away. So the idea with that is not only will my parents be using my room when I leave as a den and guest room, so it doesn't need to have all of my junk everywhere, but the second is that when I do come back, I don't need to be inundated with things that I haven't used and I don't love. Of course, I'm being mindful of keepsakes, and they are being kept here in nice and safe spots, as well as things like winter clothing that I will leave here so that I have it when I'm back here. But I'm really trying to take the time to really go through my room and do a lot of purging so that I have less things, and hopefully that will make the whole transition there, as well as any transition back here, a lot easily. And make sure you subscribe so that you can check out some of my packing videos that are soon to come, and I'll talk a little bit more about my process in deciding what to bring and what to leave here. The second thing I'm doing to prepare to leave is just really trying to soak up all of the time I have here. So I'm really trying to make plans with the friends that I love, the family members I love. I'm really lucky that I did have Christmas right before this big transition, so I have seen sort of almost all of my extended family and got to spend some good quality time with them. Of course, if it's possible to squeeze in more time, I would love that. But January, I'm really focusing on trying to get around to all of my different friends. We have all moved around since university, which makes it a little bit harder, but we're gonna get there. And obviously I'm trying to soak up time with my boyfriend and my parents and my sister, and just really enjoying the time I have here. I'm hoping I can steal some time just to kind of walk around my town and reflect and remember why I love it. I'm really trying to take advantage of the time I have while I'm still here to see people and just to soak up all that love. Now, this I couldn't divide into one category. It belongs in both. So preparing for med school as well as moving across the country takes a lot of planning. I have been obsessively using Google Sheets to keep track of a packing list that every time I have an idea I add to it to keep track of a critical path for moving. Yes, I have created my own critical path for moving. But yeah, it's just taking a lot of planning. It also, I think, is good to get back into that planning routine. So that idea of what do I need to accomplish this week? What do I need to accomplish today? And how can I do that? So as I don't have anything scheduled to do, or very rarely I have things scheduled to do, so I'm not working within time constraints, but I'm still getting back into the mindset of waking up, looking at a to-do list, and being productive that day, because I have been quite the sloth since I stopped working. And what am I using to help me with all of that planning? This is a little bit excessive, but I had one of these for my first year of university, and I kind of wanted to treat myself to something pretty for planning, so I thought for my first year of med school I'd go back to the same routine. In my entire undergraduate degree, I used everything from this planner to Passion Planner, which I did really enjoy. I just don't like their new size, as well as my own bullet journal that I created every week. So I've used a lot of different types of planners, but I have gone back to the Erin Condren Life Planner, just because the pretty designs, and I do really like the interior, but I will just show you one of the monthly layouts. So I got the neutrals palette, so you see a month on 2 pages, and every month has like a very small accent color, but it's not too busy, which is just nice. It's not too bright, but still fun. And then the week is divided into 3 parts, or every day is divided into 3 parts, sorry. So when I was doing this, I had a sort of schedule to do, and how did I use the last box? I think sometimes my to-do list just got really long, and that's, I think, how I'll plan to use this as well. It's a little bit hard when things aren't broken down by the hour, like they are in, say, the Passion Planner, because then when you have a lot of things scheduled, you can fit everything in. But I also use my Google Calendar whenever I have a planner, so I use the planner more so for organizing my day, less so scheduling it, if that makes sense. So I'll write down what I have that day, so classes and things, and then I'd still be able to open it and, you know, piece in a group meeting or something if I needed to, but it's really the to-do list and the tracking that interests me. But yeah, I think it's really pretty. It's kind of an investment, and it was a way to try to treat myself and congratulate myself for getting into med school, and yeah, so that is what I'm using to help plan. I did buy a couple different covers, so you might see this throughout the next year, and you'll see it kind of change its face because, I don't know, I'm a little extra like that. These are pretty cool now because there's space on the back and you can write with whiteboard markers on both the backs of the front and back cover. Wow. Yeah, so that's what I am using to plan, as well as I've already mentioned Google Sheets and Google Calendar are 2 of my diehard, and then I've been using the Notes app a lot. Since I now have an iPhone, a Mac computer, and an iPad, using the Notes app and just making a to-do list every day, so I make it the night before for the next day, is really helpful because it's always on the go. It's always with me, but I want to get in the habit of using a hard planner so that when I am back at school, I am not pulling out electronics to know what to do next, so that I can leave them to rest while I'm trying to study. That's the goal, at least. So planning in general is the one, and I think the biggest reason how, or why, I shouldn't say why because I might jinx it, but the biggest contribution to me succeeding in starting med school and moving across the country. And if anybody who's watching this knows me, you know I'm addicted to planners. So this is kind of the perfect thing for me. Just a whole bunch of to-do lists every day and writing in my planner every day. Also, along with planning comes reflection. So every day I'm trying to reflect on the process. I bought one of those 1 line a day journals because I think it would be really amazing. It's 5 years long, so it will encompass my whole med school journey. So that will just be fun to look back on, but I'm really trying to take the time to reflect at the end of each day, which will help with sort of that nostalgia and soaking up all my time here, as well as making sure I'm getting done what I need to get done without burning out. So that's what I'm doing so far. That's the things I've implemented or plan to implement, and I'm hoping they help. I will have to update you once I'm actually there and once I've actually started med school to know if these tips or tricks help. If you have a comment, be sure to leave it down below, and make sure you subscribe because I'm about to move at the end of the month, and with that will come so many more exciting videos. And yeah, let me know how you would plan to start your med school, how you think moving across the country would go. Is there anything I'm missing? Is there anything you suggest I do? Let me know and we'll have a conversation. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.